What made you quit a job on the spot? I worked at this electronics store for 3 years, started as a cashier, worked my way up to assistant manager. The pay wasn't great, but I liked helping customers find what they needed, and my boss Kevin seemed pretty cool. The store was in the strip mall next to a pizza place and a nail salon. We sold phones, computers, TVs, all that stuff. Nothing fancy, but we had regular customers who trusted us to fix their problems and give honest advice about what to buy. One Tuesday afternoon, this elderly woman came in carrying an old laptop that was clearly dying. The screen flickered, the keyboard stuck, and it took 5 minutes just to boot up. She said her grandson helped her buy it online 3 years ago, and now she couldn't video call her family anymore. Her name was Betty, and she was maybe 75 years old. She lived alone and used that laptop to talk to her kids in different states every week. Without it, she felt completely cut off from her family. I spent an hour running diagnostics, trying different fixes, but the motherboard was fried. This laptop was beyond repair. A new one would cost around $400, which was way more than Betty could afford on her social security check. But we had this display model laptop that was perfect for what she needed. Basic web browsing, video calls, nothing complicated. It had been sitting there for months because it wasn't the latest model, so nobody wanted to buy it. I told Kevin about Betty's situation and asked if we could give her a discount on the display model. Maybe sell it to her for $200 instead of the full retail price. She really needed it, and we weren't selling that model anyway. Kevin looked at me like I was completely stupid. Are you insane? We don't run a charity here. If she can't afford a computer, that's not our problem. Tell her to go to the library if she wants to use the internet. I tried explaining that Betty was a long-time customer, that her grandson had bought thousands of dollars worth of stuff from us over the years, that it would be good customer service and might bring in more business from her family. Kevin cut me off. Listen carefully. Our job is to make money, not to help every sad old lady who walks through that door. If I started giving discounts to everyone with a sob story, we'd be out of business in a month. Then he said something that made my blood boil. Besides, these old people don't understand technology anyway. She'll probably break it in a week and come back expecting us to fix it for free. I looked back at Betty, who was sitting patiently in the waiting area, clutching her purse and looking hopeful. She'd been nothing but polite and grateful, even when I had to tell her bad news about her old laptop. Kevin walked over to Betty and told her we couldn't help her. Said she should try the pawn shop down the street or maybe ask her family to buy her a new computer. His tone was dismissive, like she was wasting our time. Betty's face fell. She nodded quietly and started gathering her things. As she walked toward the door, she turned back and said, "Thank you anyway. You've always been so helpful here." That's when I made my decision. I walked to the register, pulled out my personal credit card, and bought that display laptop myself. Full price, $400. Nearly half my paycheck, but I didn't care. I called Betty back over and handed her the laptop bag. "Betty, this one's on us. Consider it our customer loyalty program." Her eyes filled with tears and she hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Kevin was furious. Started yelling about how I'd undermined his authority and violated company policy. How I'd set a bad precedent and customers would expect free handouts all the time now. I took off my name tag, dropped it on the counter and said, "Kevin, if treating customers like human beings is against company policy, then I don't want to work here anymore." I grabbed my jacket and walked out. Betty was still in the parking lot, sitting in her car with the laptop box on her lap, crying happy tears. 2 weeks later, Betty's grandson Marcus came into the store. He'd heard what happened and wanted to thank whoever helped his grandmother. Kevin had to awkwardly explain that I no longer worked there. Marcus spent $2,000 at our competitor across town instead. Word spread through Betty's church about what happened, and we lost a bunch of other customers too. Kevin got fired 6 months later when corporate found out about the customer complaints. I heard the store closed down entirely last year. Meanwhile, I found a better job at a company that actually cares about treating people right. And every Christmas, I get a card from Betty with pictures of her video calling her great-grandkids on that laptop. Best $400 I ever spent.